Hi guys, welcome to the Unpopular Opinion. I'm Kemi,
Claire,
Prim.
and we're real,
Raw,
and we're saying it all. As always, we celebrate after we do that. Welcome back, guys, to another week, another episode of the Unpopular Opinion. I feel like we don't take the time to say thank you for joining us every single week. Every week, thousands of views, comments. We really appreciate you. So thank you for chilling with us. We really appreciate you on Instagram here. Please do stay tuned, share with a friend. Let's be YouTubers until you subscribe, comment, like, and all that good stuff. I want us to sort of start on a more, like on a just a, how are you not? So how are you, Prim? Like, how are you doing?
I'm okay.
You're smart.
You're
Thank
so
you.
smart.
Eyeliner.
That's
I
great.
don't know if you guys can zoom in on her eyeliner so that
Like a mathematical set. You know, like a
You got your
triangle. Like a triangle, and is the one I put like this.
so symmetrical.
because you know how usually they're sisters, not twins. Twins are twins. You're good. How are you, Claire?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good. I am in the best place I've been in a long time.
It feels like it. I told you that
Yeah.
you feel lighter.
Lighter.
Yeah.
I feel lighter. I am lighter,
Yeah.
for sure. And that doesn't mean that there are no
Oh,
things
yeah.
going on in my
I
life.
know.
It just feels like I have so much peace in my heart. We thank the Lord.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'm
It
good.
like it is emanating off of
Yeah.
you. Like we feel it. If you guys follow Claire, you know she's been working out, eating right. I saw when you ate something yucky.
Oh
What was that?
God, healthy food can just be a lot.
What was it?
It was so I've been seeing this on TikTok trend.
Uh-huh.
It's flatbread,
Uh-huh.
so it's healthy flatbread. So obviously, as someone who's trying to lose weight, I'm eating a lot more protein.
Yeah.
You know, it keeps me fuller for longer.
Okay.
So I have been getting. I'm not a fan of local food generally.
Uh-huh.
I eat it, but we don't cook it at home. Not particularly.
and
Not
your
really.
sister.
Yeah. So I'm trying to find easy meals that I can do from the internet. I've been seeing this flatbread. It has been going at least on my For You page.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so it's cottage cheese and eggs plus spices. So it's supposed to make this bread that you can use, a flatbread
Like as a
that you
wrap
can
or
use, yes,
whatever.
as a wrap for like
Mhm.
sandwiches and stuff,
Mhm.
or pizzas. You can put, you can use it as
Like
a
a
pizza.
base.
Oh my God.
It sounds yucky.
I do not recommend. Like, there are some things we should just leave for white people.
I love
You
eggs, so I
get?
imagine I would really like it.
Cottage cheese.
Oh God, my
I don't
daughter
know.
loved it.
I don't know cottage
You
cheese.
don't love
My
it.
daughter loved it, but the rest of us were like,
Maybe just pallets.
Which one is cottage cheese? It's grown in a home, in a cottage.
Yes, it's
like
grown in a cabin with
in a
flowers
cabin for
around
like
it.
the dwarfs in
is that
thingies.
actually true?
No.
I didn't.
Yeah.
You said it so seriously.
Like those
Like,
cottages
I know
in
nothing
what?
about
In the Lord
cheese.
of the Rings.
Anyway, so yeah, that was horribly disgusting. Also,
Yeah.
I'm struggling with yogurt because I know it's supposed to be the plain or Greek and stuff.
Yeah.
Yuck.
But plain yogurt, the trick is putting other stuff in it. At least for me.
For
I
me,
have it
I've
like
tried.
fruit.
I've tried, but you know what? I'm also
Personally,
not
take it
trying to do a
alone.
restrictive diet.
Mm.
I'm not trying to not eat sugar. I'm just trying to eat less,
Yeah.
a lot less sugar. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if sugar is going to help me make something nicer, I eat it just in more controlled,
Portions.
portions.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's working. I haven't, as of today, I haven't weighed in yet.
Okay.
But my goal is like to lose 2 or 3 kilos
Okay.
per month over the next year.
That sounds doable.
You know, which will get me at about 36-ish kilos. You guys, the confident me as I am in my 122
There'll be
kilos.
no space.
Listen,
We'll be leaving
I don't
you
know what
sit
the
here
world's
alone.
going to do with a skinny Claire. Anyway, moving on.
We'll just leave you sit here alone and we'll contribute from that
Like
side.
the show won't need the rest of you.
Okay, well, I love it. I love it for you. I love to see it. I love that we are actually all embracing. I was telling Zerida the other day, I love that we're all embracing just wellness as
Yeah.
we approach. Do you know, guys, we're actually approaching 40s now.
Stop it. Stop.
That's
Let's move
close,
on with the
actually.
show.
Yeah.
Move on with the show.
We're coming to a point where we're closer to the 40s.
Beyond that.
Anyway, guys, today's conversation is about how we were brought up and whether or not, or to what extent that prepared us for this now,
Financial
adulting.
times.
Thank you. Those ones and so much more. Because we always talk about how adulting is hard. Adulting has so many things. There are things, you guys. We're walking on the streets, but we are carrying things. And how did our upbringings actually equip us, or did they, to manage everything from finances to relating? You guys, relating is so broad. I know sometimes it sounds like we're only talking about romantic relationships, but it's relating with people, in workplaces, in, I don't know, social settings. It's relating, yes, of course, also
on the internet, because
you know, the internet is more of
an entire world
of our generation. Our parents were not even in that.
No.
Anyway, relating with, I don't know, even just like with your own family, and what's that, how we've been prepared for the now. Okay, so I'm just going to we're going to popcorn this thing. So you just start. Like, how do you feel that your upbringing prepared you, or didn't, for this life? I think we'll start with relating. Just like even with relating, what's that been like for you?
I feel like I don't know, I was winging it. And I've been winging it
Since
adulting started.
That's my answer.
Forever winging.
Yeah. Like I've been winging it, and that's it. That's my answer.
Okay, I mean, that's fair.
I think I would say that generally speaking, now my mom says, this life of yours means this. The truth is, life has changed. I don't think there's much they could have done to prepare us enough for the way. I mean, when we were born, there were no phones.
Right.
Yeah. Now, even a 2-year-old has a phone. Does that mean, like, the world has changed? Like, robots are serving us on restaurants, which means a lot of our jobs. If you're a writer, a waiter, a mathematician, physician, doctor, robots are taking over the world. Does that make sense? Anyway, so I think 2 things that stand out to me that I was prepared. One, I failed in school. Yeah. It prepared me for the platform of life, because life is all about failure. You fall, you get up. You fall, you get up. So failing in school, and not being beaten up at home about it, because I'd bring my basket of 9s, if proper, for my parents. By the way, and they would not. I remember they only lectured a few times when they really saw that we didn't put any effort.
Yeah.
So I think I've said this before. My dad said to me once, she told me, Nzou, you are a clever girl. Yeah. I should not fail all your subjects. There's no way you're going to learn all 8 subjects. The ones you can't do, leave them. The ones you can, so choose today which 4 are you going to do. So I chose.
Excel at them.
I want to see you. I don't need distinctions, but I want to see you do your best at the things you do. At that. So that, oh my God, I remember that day I was in S1. First time I had gotten distinctions, because it's what is Bunsen burner, and we had you get it. We had practiced cram work question answer in P7, so I did that. Then second term things got a little bit more intense, and I failed all through. I failed everything, and that's the term my dad sat me down and said, "Listen, I don't need you to have a distinction in all subjects. Choose the 4, and even if it's a pass, it has to be your best pass ever." So I never had that anxiety of constantly performing for my parents. I just needed to work really, really hard, and if an F9 was the best I could give them for that particular subject, that was okay, as long as they saw that I put it, because that's what adult life is. You put so much work and then you still fail. And then you still fall flat in your face. You still get embarrassed and things like that. Anyway, so, and then the second thing is also the confidence. I've been confident since I was a child, because I grew up in an environment that did not bog us down.
We know.
Yeah. So I think, and that is, it doesn't matter how clever you are. It doesn't matter how intelligent, if you do not have the confidence to express that intelligence, it's your cleverness is just limited by your confidence.
That's true.
So I was prepared in that way. Everything else, no.
I think, like, when you're talking about preparing for confidence, because as she was saying, it reminded me that our upbringing isn't limited to our parents, because even the schools we were in, I know without a shadow of a doubt that Lohana Academy, what's up? Lohana Academy made me a very confident child.
Yeah.
There's a way we were, like, I remember our late headmaster, Almeida. Mr. Almeida was amazing. He felt like everyone's grandpa.
Yeah.
In a not creepy way, in the kindest, sweetest way you can think about. Like, it just felt like all of us are taken care of. I don't know. Like, there was an ease to the way we existed in that school.
Yeah.
If it's time to dance, it's time to dance. Time for studies, okay, studies. But also, we are not about to die that because books. I don't know. There was a way it just felt like you could be anything.
Yeah.
Like in that, I don't remember ever feeling like I had limitations. I felt like if it's time to be an astronaut, I'm ready. If it's time to anything, it felt like
you had that confidence.
like the world is my oyster.
Yeah.
And you know, because recently I was listening to IRIP, the podcast, and they were hosting, there's this Kenyan artist, Giuliani, and he was saying that one of the things that's really important to him to pass on to his kids, like what he wants for his kids is for them to be able to imagine the wildest thing that they can do in this world and believe that they can do it. And they try at least, like, like the most crazy, unbelievable, not normal. He's like that. He's like, I want them to, if they can have that, he's like, I'll be like, I've done something.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's also something to be said for schools.
Yeah.
Because I feel like then going to Nabisunsa, it was different.
Yeah.
The good things that I went with a measure of confidence.
The foundation helps.
It helps.
A foundation helps,
So
for
of course
sure.
I spent my 6 years on stage. Honestly, anyone who was in Nabisunsa at that time knows that me, I was on stage. That was my home. So I feel like the schools, I know it's a hard thing. I'm not a parent yet, but I know it's a hard thing to also figure out where do you put your child where they're going to thrive, because you can only do so much about the time they're spending over there.
Because they spend more time at school than home anyway.
That's true.
Yeah,
But
spend
school really
8 whole
does
hours
something.
at school.
I feel Lohana Academy in particular just prepared me to spread my wings.
Yeah.
Just
Let's make about my school.
Tell
My
us.
school, and I'm like, these things. First of all, I went to a UPE school. We were the first UPE. The ones Sevo brags about, the first PLE, UPE. Yeah, it was our year actually. We were quite many in class because our school fees was like 24,000 shillings. Claire, your eyes are not opening. Are you trying?
Can you not see?
Are you trying to conceptualize 24,000 or? It was like, I think like 18K. It was at first like 18K. Then I think they increased it to like 23,000 or 24,000. 21,000, like 24,000 plus banking charges or something like that. But we were like so many, and like one class would have like 4 or 5 streams.
Yeah, of like 100 kids.
Yeah, because I remember our reports would be like, they would print out the entire, and then they would underline for you. They would underline Primrose Murunji, number 8, they would put a red ruler. But then you'd know like everyone's position in class. And then I think over in third term is when they would now give us positions out of all the streams. Yeah, all the streams. We were quite many. I feel like we're just like, I don't know. I just remember like we were just fighting at the canteen. We were fighting for cassava at the canteen. So maybe it shaped me to fight for food. We're just like
interesting.
We didn't have Almeida to be a cool grandpa. We were just fighting for our lives. We were trying to buy cassava through
a stream of 100
school
kids.
fence.
How do you do break time?
I went to Chibuya Primary School. It's in Makindi, like just like at the top of the hill there where there's like the Anglican church. I just remember us either deciding which cassava are you buying today, or we're being sorry from the barbed wire, through the barbed wire outside, or the canteen, and you're trying to get your money, like your 100 shillings, over to the person who is at the front of the canteen. So, and break, they would now ring the bell that break is done. Break is done. You've not picked up food. So I think that's how I was. I was just prepared to fight for food. Like,
The funny thing
that's how I've been shaped.
Because when we were in Nabisunsa, we used to have those chaotic break times. The line is long, people are about to just like, you're sending the other person, your friend in front, what? I think for me, did the opposite. I think I must have eaten break in Nabisunsa like thrice.
You were like, never mind.
I was like, I can't. Maybe it's because I came from Lohana and I was like, what's this? I was like, are you mad?
Yeah.
I don't know. So maybe what it prepared me for is to not eat in between meals. Because it couldn't be me. I used to be people like,
you eat a good meal?
I have to fight for this shapeless donut. We used to call them shapeless donuts. I have to fight for this shapeless donut like this. I was like, you guys, you're mad. Anyway, we've digressed. But speaking of relating with people, maybe there's also finances. Because, I mean, that's like the big monster that most of us are only just now, learning. I can't say we are learning to navigate in our 30s. How do you feel like your upbringing prepared you or didn't prepare you to be here managing your own money?
I don't think that a lot of people in our generation prepared us for that. But there's a time I read stories on my IG, and I'll never forget some lady who sent me a DM and said, Prim, our dad actually taught us how to handle money. Like, I remember this DM vividly. She said their dad used to have envelopes where he would come and, like, let's say for each child, Fiona, Claire, Prim, he would come and put school fees for those kids, right? Like this Prim's envelope is so at the beginning of the term, he would never panic. And do you feel like the holidays were longer that time?
It feels like
Yeah, they were longer.
I feel like they were longer.
So he would never panic at the end of at the beginning of the term because he would have put money
aside.
Now, she says to this day, I'm like that. She's like, I have envelopes for rent, envelopes for water, envelopes for these bills. She's like, I still do that. She's like, that's how I saw my dad. And then envelope for saving. She's like, then I'll carry the one for saving and take it to the bank. But then I'll have like envelopes for dealing. She's like, so seeing how my dad managed money taught me. Then there's someone who told me that their mom used to run business. But you've also seen that with DK. DK and Edna, they actually tell you, Edna tells you her mom was a business person. DK also tells you that she used to go, because DK she's so brilliant. She's so good at business and managing money and making money. And she says that, it's because I used to go with my mom to the market when she would be selling her items. She's like, I would go with her because she wanted us to understand what it's like to make money. Now, when we see women coming to the market with their children, or when we see a certain, I've been to businesses where there's a Haji that used to buy from certain things, and now he starts to bring his son in, let's say, S4 vacation or P7 vac, and the child starts to come. Now, that is one of the most beautiful things because he's trying to he's trying to say, I am getting old, but I'm trying to hand you over to my son. I've also seen that with time, that same Haji starts to sit in a chair and he starts to tell his son, do this, do that, do that. Back because you're buying out of loyalty to Haji. But now Haji is out of business and it's the son. One thing that I've seen is that the Muslim community has done that.
Hold each other. That's true.
They've done that. They've passed business down to children. They've taught them business. Now, there's a problem whereby we tend to look at the woman who comes with her child to the market and feel pity. True. Why do we feel pity? Because we look down on that. I've said this about the people that work in our homes, in our shambas, in our homes as house managers. The fact that you look down on that job makes you feel pity for someone. But I personally believe that's your office, right? If I'm waking up and going to my office, I imagine if my boss used to look down on me and feel pity.
And treat
me like I am lesser.
Thank you.
Right? Yeah. I'm a lesser being. Do you imagine that there's not work that would get done? So when I am dealing with people that do blue collar jobs, I treat you with as much respect because that you're a professional and that's your job.
Yeah.
I have no pity. I'm just going to treat you with decency as a human being. I'll not abuse you, I'll not do anything, but I'll also not feel like, you know what, she's suffering. No, you're not suffering. He is suffering, you're not suffering. When I look at a woman who is coming to, the market woman who comes to sell mangoes with her child, that right there is someone teaching her child how to run business.
Yeah.
So they are learning work ethics, exactly. Yeah. So let us not look at it like, they are suffering. No, they're not suffering. That child is learning different things, different values, how to relate with customers, the lady who stops in her car, the gentleman who stops in the car. And with time, one thing I've realized with these market women is that she'll stop being the one that runs to the car and it will be the child that runs to the car. Okay? So
people
skills, exactly. So as the more we look down on someone coming with their child to work, because what we believe should be is appropriate for come with your child to work day is that you carry them to your office. You carry them to your office wearing a tie the same way you're wearing a tie and but that's not it. Yeah. That's not all that we have to offer. There's so much more. And it's why when we've seen a lot of rich people die and their dynasties die with them. Because you were the sole provider, you were the accountant, you were the manager, you were the everything, right? You've not empowered your wife, you've not empowered your children. Kaya is dying. Okay, last night's episode, he's dead and all. And his wife, fine, doesn't fine, she's fighting she wants the property, what. But he has a spoiled child, Paris. He has Dylan, who we've seen run businesses down to the ground and, gets another one on a plate handed to him. Like this man, I'm sure, like it's so sad to imagine the empire he has built, to think about the money that he has, and now he has died. So we're now in that chaos. Like as of last night's episode, we were in that chaos.
No one is.
Everyone is just like, yeah. What happens in such cases is that your children now at some point, first of all, he even has a child, Subi, from another relationship.
Woman,
And what happens in such cases is that sometimes they'll just be like, let us sell. For us, they'll just be like, let us sell, and then each and every one goes their own way.
And that is where it never goes
It never.
well. Because let me tell you about money that you haven't worked for. It will go quickly. Doesn't matter how much it is. Really, really, really quickly. Money that you have not worked for, if it's handed to you, if you do not have the right. So if I had money, if I inherited money right now, what I would do is I'd keep it first go and talk to every financial advisor I can, educate myself, talk to other people before I even spend a dime of it. You get, I have been in a situation where I've had a lot of money, inherited a lot. Mama, I would like to tell you, it was within 6 months. It was a lot of money.
And this is money that some other person
6 months
spent years.
This is money someone spent decades
trying to make
their entire life. And I feel like I spent in 6 months.
And I feel like it's the recurring story in
and
our community.
It leaves you in the same position that they were trying to get you out of.
Thank you.
Because the Kayas of our society are many.
Yeah.
Wealthy, brilliant men and women who are, I don't know, we're not equipping the children we're bringing into this world to carry forward.
However, I'd like to throw a spanner in, is that our parents do not know much because they grew up in tough life. You get, it was the war. A lot of them were in the villages. They were digging and stuff. So to them, the best way they could give their kids is by spoiling, and they didn't even mean to spoil.
No, they didn't mean to.
They meant to just give them the opportunities
that they didn't have.
True. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I like to be a little bit, what's the word? Empathetic of because they're only seeing now. You get things like high yield saving accounts. Our parents didn't know anything about that.
You don't go for even bills and bonds.
Even bills and bonds. Many parents,
they managed to make. They made wealth somehow.
But
in spite of
the world was different. The world was different. Like Bayata, how many of us? My parents were in a nice big house in Muyenga by the time they were married. You get. I am nowhere. I'd like to say that I'm nowhere near close
nice big house
to ever having a whole house in Muyenga. And if I ever have a house in Muyenga, I don't know. I don't know what kind of money I would have, or maybe inheritance. I don't know, but I can't afford a house. I can't even afford one over where. You get what I mean? And I'm this age because my mom had all three of us by the time she was my age now, and they were in a, So things have changed. The way you got wealth then was mostly property, jobs, business. You could get wealthy through a job then. Now, employment is the slowest way to wealth. You understand?
I recently saw a real
unless you have a job
after scamming,
where you have access to extra money. You get, because we're all working hard, in fact harder. I have 4 businesses. My dad had 1 business. My mom had 1 job. You get, but I have 4
principles to things.
Yeah.
Like
Thank
money
you
has
for
core
saying
principles, I don't know, all of the, even people who build generational wealth, when you listen to them speak, there are things that they have in common, that their
principles
families have in common.
Yeah.
I hope it won't sound too stereotypical. 'Cause honestly, it's a really positive thing. I feel like the way Indians manage wealth and family is something to aspire to.
And it has been for generations, by the way.
Even the way they are connected as a unit, that money can't be going anywhere else. They're organizing you from the time you're a child to carry forward whatever it is you have now and grow it consistently.
true.
And it's something we are only just like learning. And then they've been doing it generation after generation after generation. I feel
our
like
parents left us behind when they went to make money. You get, they left us behind and just kept coming home. Like when you talk about but like I'm going to still refer back to Kaya. Like genuinely, he's a very interesting character. His people skills. The way he talks to people, the way you rarely hear him bark, the way, that's something you can pass on to your children. But his daughter now, like,
is a
terrible,
bad-mannered
skills, very bad-mannered, terrible skills. So those are like some of the basics. When you talk about like us teaching some of the basics, now this is someone who has died. So the way he has probably built wealth is through his people skills, relating with people, you know, social capital. He has built his friendships and his relationships. It's why I think lately people will say things like, oh, our parents had really strong friendships, but they nurtured friendships, they built friendships. You guys, I remember when we were paying graduated tax, when our parents were paying graduated tax. It's the one called, I think, Pandagari. I think Sevo removed it in the 2001
I remember going with my mom to pay those
2001
taxes.
elections. Yes, but I remember when my dad's friends would get arrested. That day when they bring a bunch of matoke, you're dividing it into 3.
For everyone.
You take to so-and-so's family, you take to so-and-so's family. When he would bring a liter 5 of milk, I would go swinging it up to, I used to stay in Makindi, up to Mubarak with my mother to the friend who was arrested. When my dad was a businessman, when he gets money, more than, you know, he will cover his friend's graduated tax for like, I remember it was like maybe kasamvu. He would cover it, you get. And when I told him when my dad passed, this friend of his that I vividly remember, he would pay tax for, he would pick up his family when you know things are not good. That guy would do my shopping at the beginning of a major class. You get like Form 1, he did my shopping. Form 3, he did my shopping. When I was going to Form 5, when I went to graduate in Makere, that's the man that took us. His aunt who was there as my father, like in that place. So our parents also had people skills. They like friendships were way deeper than than our reasons for friendships lately. So those are people skills. So we need to also, we taught the principles of just life, the value of loyalty. It brings us to that thing of people wanting to benefit so quickly. So like nkufunye emuntia and I go
I think it's also because we were not shown
how to build the progress,
the journey.
We're just kind of
first we just saw father rich. You get. But by the time I realized my dad did grow up in the village as well, took himself through school. You get. I was like this. I cannot even fathom my father not rich.
And
that makes sense.
It makes so much sense because, like, even how you said that you didn't, by the time you got to know those things, it was later.
It was later.
I feel like one of the gaps that I only realized later in life was that I felt like our parents didn't talk to us enough about where they came from. Like, really where you came from.
Yeah.
You know, have you ever imagined what your mom was like? You know, when you're trying to imagine your mom even before she had you, what was she doing? How did she this
My
and
mom
this?
told us
What
stories.
were you? I don't know. Like, I feel like us, we didn't hear as much of it, and yet it's a powerful thing. Like, knowing
Because
those stories, humanizes
them.
Yeah. Like, organize my life and say, okay, so when she was at this point, she was like this, but then I don't know. There's a way it gives you some kind of knowledge of where things came from, and I don't know. It's valuable. Like, I think that's why even stories in like African culture are so important.
Yeah.
Not just stories of maybe, you know, fiction, but the stories of your life. It's I don't know, I feel it's
Jabala banged in our heads. Then they bang Jabala in our heads to make us work, to learn to slave away. So that you don't move at night.
I do wonder. You know, there's principles like cleanness. You know, you have to eat healthy. You have to, because also those are
Those are all, that's all wealth, by the
you
way.
get. Those are all. That's all wealth. However, I don't know if I'll be there showing my child how to kunya a cloth.
Oh, you better.
Does that make sense?
Claire, you better.
Why?
You better.
Because listen.
Let's hear both sides.
Why? Because I grew up. I've never had to kunya clothes. Me personally.
So when you guys say kunya clothes, what do you mean?
This.
Oh, just the actual
Yeah,
washing. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
washing. I've never had to. I had a washing machine since I was a child.
Claire,
The
I found out
principle
washing machines when I
is-
said working in 2018.
No, the principle is cleanness. I do not wear dirty clothes. The principle is cleanness. It's like with money. The principle is you work. Where you work, how you work, is none. Now, let's say for example, there's a lot of education right now. There's a lot of work that's going to be taken away by machines and robots for the future.
What are the chances your child is going to afford these things?
I can afford it. My parents can afford it. The chances of my child affording a machine are very high. You get, and even if she can't, listen, holding a cloth like this and washing is not rocket science. She can learn it at 50 years old. You get, the principle is the cleanness. You get, how about we teach the principle? Because I know a lot of times we look down on people who cannot do a lot of these things. You get, but if you've smelt my clothes and they are dirty, fine. But my clothes are clean. They've always been clean. When I was in uni and I couldn't afford a washing machine, but I used to pay for someone to come and wash my clothes. You get, so I've always had either someone wash my clothes, but I will not wash them myself. Why? Because why? I don't see benefit.
Yeah.
I don't see the benefit of
We are really totally
bending
different.
down.
Differently about
We
it.
are really totally different
What is your
people.
appreciation
I
of-
don't see. So
Let's use this example of
I
washing.
see your point. I see your point of the principle being that, but anyway, but I'm also speaking from, I am biased because of like where I come
Your
from, because
experiences.
my
Which makes
experiences,
sense,
yes, they
yeah.
really shape us differently.
Yeah.
I'm
They
glad
really
this
do.
is the topic
Actually,
we're having
you've
because
said it and also
yeah.
you've made me rethink. I'm
yeah.
like, actually.
Yeah, because for me, I will teach you how to not just mop the floor. But my mom used to tell me, take him corner hands, say hame. Like, make sure when you hold that rag, your hands firmly clean the ground. So now, can I afford a Hoover? Can I afford someone to clean? Blah blah
A
blah.
robot?
Yes, but yes, you know that this tiny robot that goes around cleaning floors.
yeah.
I'm always reading about it like off Amazon and everything. Would I actually get it? In my head, I feel like,
It won't clean as well
thank
as
you so much. I still, like, one of the most, like, I keep telling people that when I lost weight, for me, it wasn't the aesthetics. One of the biggest, my first hooray moment was the day I bent down to mop my house and finished it. And I
you
wasn't
felt so
sweating
proud.
and panting. That was one of the best things that weight loss gave back to me. The fact that I can now do my housework myself. Like, let me tell you, I enjoy it. And when I teach my child to bend down and mop, it won't just be kuisa out simula. Because I'm always even just seeing those things of just getting a thingy and you just like pass. You know the moppers that people use when they are standing. I swear when I get it, I still feel like I'll still
not as
have it,
clean.
and then I prefer to
Yes.
squeeze the rug myself.
Yeah.
Then
You clean, which I understand.
Then I
Now,
clean.
for me, I feel like if I'm to teach my daughter, I'm one of those people. I imagine myself saying, "Bana mufune robot, ejerongo se wano robot mwaji koza says."
Yeah.
Do you get what
Did
I
you
mean?
charge
Did
the-
you charge
did
the
you charge
robot?
the mopper? Yeah.
You get. I've never bent down to mop, ever. Not ever in my life. My mom is one person who invests in fancy mops and fancy cleaning things.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? But the principle is, my mom has like
A clean
10
house.
At any one time, she has 10 mops. When she would go, those days when ShopRite and Game was still there, any fancy mop they would bring, my mom would buy it. She was obsessed with it. So, and that's how I also see that, this mop, I can look at a mop and see that this one is good, the fiber is really good. It
Yeah, it can
clean.
dry.
You get. But also, I also realize that these cleaning principles is, if this spoon is dirty, I don't have to teach my child how to clean it. That's just not
You can get
rocket science.
a thing that
I'd rather invest the time teaching them
her.
something that is a little bit more. Now, people are going to probably attack me in the comments.
No, no, it's
And
your truth,
when
by
I
the
realized,
way.
I remember there's a relative
It's your
of
truth.
ours. I remember there's a relative of ours who used to say, "Abana tebamanyi kurnya, abana mubono." Sorry, for
They don't know how to wash,
non-Luganda
yeah.
speaking audience. So they used to tell my parents that these girls don't even know how to wash. You get my mom
Physically.
just would tell them, "Do you think their clothes are dirty?
What's wrong?
What when you see a rich person, let's say Sudil's daughter, and you who has hand washed
Where's the difference?
on the street in
at the end of
Kampala,
the day,
what's the difference?
the
You think
end
she
goal.
hand washed?
You believe it's the end goal.
Yeah, it's
Which
not
is
the
the same
thing.
thing with principles of money. For you, you might decide to invest in property. I might invest in bonds. You get at the end of the
goal
day,
is
the
that
principle is that we are both financially
comfortable.
Yeah,
There
so
you go.
it's about the principle. the
Yes,
thing,
and
not the
often
thing.
exactly, and often. So
The
what I want to say
process,
is
yeah.
that let's not judge other people's decisions and other
On
people's.
how-
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I could look at you and like, man, people like to wash clothes. Me, I can never suffer like that, and I'm judging you. And then you can also be like, Mamu, man, I'm watching, right?
Yeah, and you can't watch. Yeah, actually, that's how that's
And
how
you
we,
attach it to my
Yeah.
value, and I
Yeah.
attach it to your value,
Yeah.
and yet we both walk out on the street. We are here. Do
With
I
clean
know how you
clothes.
washed?
No.
No.
Makes sense because the end is the
Yeah.
same.
Exactly.
That we're achieving.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we wind up, I thought we'd just talk about what do we want to do better? Because we're always just like trying to shine the light back on ourselves.
Yeah.
Also, we've experienced X, Y, Z. It has made us this and that. We are learning now. We are progressing constantly. Like, what do you want to see for Nkinzi relationally and financially, and maybe even if you have like tips on what you're doing, we welcome them.
So we live in a world where kindness is not very common anymore, you know? And so that's one thing I'm really teaching my daughter, kindness. I'm trying. You know how hard it is to teach a 2-year-old kindness, how to be kind. And I notice when I shout, the periods when she's very frustrating and I shout at her, she starts shouting back. You get, but financially, I don't want to be like Kaya. I really don't. You guys, I'm working so hard for my money. You get these sleepless nights and the 5 businesses and whatnot, million things to do. They're not so that when I die at 60, 70, whatever, it dies with me. I'd really love for it to continue so that it gives my daughter the luxuries I didn't have without also taking away that need and value for working from her. So I want to teach her both how to make money, but also how to make it grow. Invest it, save it, make it grow for you. So those are 2 principles I've learned in the last literally 2-3 years that you can make money grow. And the only way you can get wealthy in this lifetime is to make your money grow. Your money has to work for you. You can never work into wealth. Your money has to work for you. So that's something. The other thing is, and I just thought about it now, but it disappeared. But I really want her to value work. I want her to value work. I'd never want to hear my daughter say, I'm going to get married to a rich man. You get, because I was raised by a rich man who wasn't rich by the time he died. So I do know, Sente Mugeni, money is a visitor. You're lucky when you have it. And it comes and goes.
Yeah.
You know, it passes through.
Yeah.
So wealth more also into other things. My dad, he had a big heart. He was very, very kind. My mom has a big heart as well. So there's so many of those principles that I really love to pass on to her. But Banangi, I will come back if I see my daughter wasting the money I make.
Return?
I will return.
The ghost of your boss.
I will haunt her, this child.
Our mothers were threatening to return when we can't do housework.
This one is like, should you play with them?
Should you play? I mean, But no, I will return. Anyway, that's for me, that's
yeah.
what I really want to give my daughter, to make sure that I'm not in that situation where I am dying and I'm worried that my stuff
Panicking
is
that,
going to end
yeah.
with me and I don't know what my daughter is going to be, and things like that. Yeah.
I'm going to just like weigh in on a few things. I think one thing I've learned as an adult is that knowledge, connections, a lot of things will get you through the door, but what keeps you in places is character.
Yeah.
It's very, very important. Our character, how we relate to people, respect, just like generally how we treat other human beings. That's what keeps you in places, and that's what makes you grow. Then another thing that I've learned is when you remember how in training they were teaching us about like loyalty. The military talks about loyalty a lot because you need people to be loyal in order to sustain you, to sustain your dreams and believe in your principles and ideologies, right? So loyalty, it's one of the most like important things, right? But when we talk about the things that shaped us in certain ways, now we are here. How are we shaping? One day our children are going to be seated on a podcast referring to us as
the parents.
the parents.
My
The
mom.
same way we are referring to my mom, my what? It will be our children seated on a podcast, right? And I know that we're teaching ourselves financial literacy. Like now we're in that era where there's information everywhere, what. But, and we are learning, we are trying to like make sure we don't struggle with retirement the way our parents did. Like our parents' retirement plans were their children, us. Let me educate them, then they'll look after me when I'm old and grey. So now we're trying to make sure, let us prepare for retirement, but are we preparing our children? Are we preparing and giving them inheritance and everything? So as someone who didn't get inheritance, it's one of the things I've always envied. I always felt like, if someone had given me a place to start, I would have added on because I can see what I have now. And I'm like, it would have been such a good thing to have a place where to start. Yes. Like when I saw how my friends were adding on, and for me, I had to first go back and pick like my siblings, first go back and pay school fees, first go back and fix certain things and whatnot.
Before you even start on your own foundation. Before I can even
start on my foundation, yes. Like, it's like it's like someone told us we were going for a race. And for me, I had to go back behind and not even start at the starting line. So I wouldn't want us to do the same thing for our children. So when we're talking about like financial literacy and everything, we need to incorporate our children. Whatever you learn today, you go home and you teach your child. If they are like of a certain like understanding age, like say, like 10 or something, they can start to conceptualize things, talk about these things. Let us see how finances are handled in our homes and in our families. I was at a friend's place and they were telling their child to load the yaka. And she called her son, like, go and bring the yaka thingy, like plug it in, now enter this number. And I told her, oh wow, Shiba, I'm actually glad that you're teaching him these things. He needs to know, like this is it's as small as yaka, but it's paid for. It's a bill in a home. So let them learn these things. They're never too young to learn these things. Then, on the point of loyalty, that the value in sustenance and longevity, right? Let us not believe in like let me bang a deal of 100 million and go away, because the truth is it could either make you, or you could also not use it well. You could lose it just as easily, right? But there's also value in stability, in stably getting like 20 million, or like consistently and sustaining that, and planning for it and valuing it over the one deal. So what that creates is that, how you get, I recently had like a builder who asked me, like he came to see the work and he was like, oh, madam, this is like a lot of work. You are going to add, I can't do it. You have to add money. And I was like, okay, no problem. I'm going to add you 2 million, right? And he's like, okay, he accepted to work, what? And he's like, we're starting tomorrow. Guess what? Tomorrow, the man wakes up And he keeps calling me. So I'm just like, is there like, is the material there? Are the things there? Is there like a problem? And then he goes like, I just like need more 2.5 million, what. I just told him, please get off, go. Bideke. I told him, go. And yet the person that employs him is someone I've worked with for a long time. He worked for me like 4 years ago, and that's why he's back here, right? And in future, we're going to still work together because I want us to, because we both understood the principle of that relationship of I'll never call another person. It will always be this one who has understood that we have Kalito and this is how we plan for it. I will call him and say, now I have 500K, what can it do? And he says, oh, let us do this. Or I have 1 million, what can it do? You know, that the value of sustainability and longevity, having things, maintaining things, you know, like over a long period of time. Yeah. And that's one of the problems we have as the youth today, that get rich quick. Yeah, quick.
And what about you, Fiona?
The thing that you guys have said, the stuff, like I agree with all of those items for sure. I think also every time we have these conversations, it makes me realize more and more how complex parenting is. There's so many things you want to provide for this child. There's so many things you want to pour into them. Some of them are not things you ever experienced yourself, and it must be tough. Like think about how do I now bring it to them in a way they'll understand, in a way that they can hopefully keep. It makes you feel small because you realize there's only so much we can do as human beings. Yeah. Leave it to the Lord after that. Anyway, but I thought of one of the greatest gifts I think I was given growing up, which is exposure. By the way, and this will sound silly. Maybe it will sound silly. But the simple fact of my dad, I think we used to, you remember when we used to borrow tapes before these things of TV? We used to go together, we borrow tapes, we watch TV. When tapes season started, when the things started to change, please, he bought for us DStv. I still remember when they came to install for us DStv in like, I was in P4. I still remember like seeing the cartoons and we couldn't believe it. It felt the cartoons, it felt like they were fresh, they were new. They were not the ones we had been watching.
You've been watching this entire time.
They were fresh, they were just... And it's weird, like it's just TV, I know. But it's strange the things TV can teach you. And we spent a lot of time outdoors, whatever. But it's funny, like that small exposure of TV did something. And then obviously Nairobi, I talk about it a lot, but Nairobi really changed me. Yeah. I'm not saying that everybody has to go abroad, but be somewhere else. I hope that I can give my child or children that. The experience of living somewhere else where I'm not. It grows you.
Izuba, Edna's daughter,
who has constantly,
who has been to different places.
countries, like it had 2 years of life.
Good for her.
But I agree. I agree with
I don't know, there's something that like clicked in me. The day I left like the nest and just went and was on my own. I can't even explain it. I became tougher. I just grew. Like the person of today has a lot to do with that season of my life. I hope that I'm able to give my kids some different ways of exposure, you know, whether it's the television we're able to consume or the, I don't know, because content now is they're going to consume content. If there's a way I can help them consume content that grows them, amazing.
And I'm just taking them to like the village, to camps, to like learn how to milk a cow. Learn how they use cow dung as manure. Like me feel like I know that these are, you know, weird examples or whatever, like, or where would they apply in the real world, but you just like never know.
It's important to
never know.
Experience.
Like go and like
things that you don't usually.
You drive them to where they see the waterfalls and they be there. DK can take them to the waterfalls.
And to DK.
I don't know, like let them be. I don't know.
I also think a university experience away from home.
I can imagine.
You guys.
I can imagine.
That is one of the best gifts, I must say, my parents gave me. It's just, and now I took it for granted then. It was just like, duh, of course we're going to abroad for a university. Like,
it's where everyone from your school went.
Exchange programs.
So it was very much excuse me, what do you think we're going to Makere? Anyway, then. But now, oh my God, I look back at my experience, university experience, that growing up, that you have you make your own choices, you know, the innocent decisions you made, good or bad, you know, it's if you can, if you can say, even now, start saving. You can start saving for the next 18 years for your children to go, for your child to go away. I think it's such an experience. It's not the same if you go at master's level or if you go. I think it's that, because I was abroad for most of my 20s. It hit different than when I went abroad for uni.
Now,
It hit, even when I was 25. It hit different from when I was 19.
I can imagine it's very different.
Yeah, it's just,
depending on where you are.
so different.
Because for us, it was after uni, so our experience is also different from other people.
It's still good, of course. I would say if you can just leave marriage and having babies in your 20s and go experience the world, because you're never going to have that freedom,
luxury of just
of your 20s. Do you know how much I miss that freedom?
Like,
or you can just pack up your bags.
Even now,
and
being unmarried or whatever, it's still not the same. The freedom is not the same as the one I had.
Yeah,
in my 20s.
it's not. You have so much responsibilities. Do not waste your 20s on marriage. Go abroad and
Someone is going to quote you for sure.
That's going to be an
I don't
audio.
mind. You quote me on this.
Audio.
Don't waste your 20s in marriage. Kindly, you can get to marriage in your 30s or 40s even. It's not a race.
It should be a retirement plan.
Kindly show us your passport. That is what
What's
you should
your
be
retirement plan? Marriage.
Like marriage.
married.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us for yet another episode of the Unpopular Opinion. A big shout out, as always, to Nzou Media Hub, the gorgeous space that we are filming in. They're the reason why we are now going to be on podcast. Hold us to that, because it's coming. It's coming. So shout out to this beautiful, beautiful space. There are amazing partners. And also a big shout out to DStv. The stories that you hear us, referring to are all from the amazing local content that they host on Pearl Magic Prime. You guys, access costs like what, 45,000? Please, you join us, and we, you also, when someone is bringing a story and something, and you're like, who is that? What?
Do you guys know? Yeah. I never used to watch Ugandan content because I didn't relate to it a lot until this year.
Exchange programs in the UK.
You first leave me alone. I didn't relate. So there's so much about Ugandans that used to puzzle me that now I understand.
To puzzle you as a white person
by watching.
from a Caucasian.
No, so for example, I've been watching
as a donor.
Yeah, I've been watching Sanyo. There's so many seasons and so many episodes. But so you know how I used to say that this whole storyline of the maid sleeping with the man of the house, it's just bored me. I didn't relate to it. I only ever knew it growing up. I heard of this and I thought it was so far-fetched. Like how? You get it? Why? What? You sleeping with a young sister in university. You get it? It didn't make any sense. And then there are a lot of things of bewitching. The conversations that I hear
so I don't understand.
You
don't have ancestors who don't wish you well?
I don't know. I've never heard of them.
Is your entire family and clan at par? Are they all working towards one goal?
So there's so much to catch up on.
Yeah.
So I watched the first season, the first like 10 episodes, just to see where it got. Then I started, and Bate's family, you guys. That family makes me laugh. And these are things
Such a
that
good man. He's a very calm man. But his wife with the
I like his wife. She makes me laugh.
She's too problematic. She's too chaotic.
I think that the two of them kind of the way they are, she makes me
They're
laugh.
opposites,
but
by the way.
Seeing their family makes me understand a lot about a lot of people that I've met.
Okay.
In my life, and makes me understand why people say, a lot of things that they say that used to puzzle me.
Yeah.
A lot. You get, because I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunately, I didn't grow up so much in a traditional
extended.
Ugandan be careful with bringing your sisters in your home. Be careful with your friends and your there's so much I have understood.
Yes.
I'm starting to understand now that I'm watching Ugandan content.
Yeah, you're like, oh, okay, this is what life
This
was
is
like
what
for
people,
them. Yeah.
yes, this is what.
what they
Now,
experience.
at some point, I thought this must be an exaggeration.
Yeah.
Come on. But the more I talk to people, the more I realize
Yeah,
it's
it's their
actually
experiences.
stuff that
It is their
happens.
experiences. Yeah.
So I guess we can say that also, international school kids, we welcome you to purchase one of the many bundles and packages offered by DStv. So that you can consume some local content and really start to relate to us,
Ugandan, yeah.
the regular men.
Start to understand where we come from.
The grassroots
Our
folks.
trauma. Yeah.
You know, start to maybe
Be like Claire. Be like your friend Claire, who is
like
trying to
Claire.
understand the people she's donating to.
Let us come together as you
When
can.
they say charity,
When they say,
money
where is your money going? Where is your money going?
So, I mean, yeah, welcome.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, subscribe to DStv.
And we'll see you next week.
Subscribe to our Unpopular Opinion YouTube channel. Bye.